Today I'm showing my first impressions and basic review of the Ohuhu colored FineLiner set, which has 18 pens. It has several different colors and also black pens. It turned out I really liked them, and they were originally $1.02 each pen, so $15.99 Canadian, which becomes $18.39 with tax. However, I reordered them, but the second set never arrived. They were supposed to arrive by December 1st, so I just thought everyone should know. That's one of the only packages I ever had trouble with Amazon, and I'm trying to get a refund now or find out what happened. It's saying the package was lost, in case that informs anyone. However, the first set did come in fine, and I really love them. I'm testing the different surfaces that I can use it on, different types of paper, different speeds to see how quickly or if it ever turns waterproof, because they are claimed to be waterproof ink, as well as testing it with alcohol markers for mixed media. I found very much so you need to test the different papers because the length of time it takes to become waterproof on different papers varies a lot depending on the substrate. I also have to remind everyone that with felt tip pens like these, you really should use smoother papers to avoid damaging the tips, but as they are technically disposable pens and will run out of ink, if you don't mind damaging the tips a bit, you should use them on any paper you feel like. I also find that paper with sizing that is more intended for watercolors, it'll take much longer for the ink to set and become more waterproof. I'm doing tests on this cheap little Dollarama sketchbook because I really want to be able to use different materials I have on all kinds of different papers. So I'm showing some of the more in-depth tests here. Now I wanted to go right in freehand on this smooth cardstock. This is my Coordinations white smooth cardstock that I get from Walmart. And I go right in with the pens, and I'm going right in and just drawing some fish, and then I'm going right over it with Copic markers. Now I did not wait, but I have found that on most papers, I don't need to wait long for it to turn alcohol proof, and I don't need to wait long for it to turn waterproof. However, as I said, you really should test for each paper. I found this Coordinations paper and these FineLiners work incredibly well. I also have to say that I really enjoy using them with various mixed media, and I've really been enjoying using them to write with. As I said, they went on sale slightly cheaper and I bought a second set, but that set never arrived, so I'm supposing that it just took so long. I didn't realize immediately with all the Christmas stuff that it never arrived, but I looked everywhere I would have put it and I didn't remember getting it, and then when I went to check my Amazon, it said that the package is probably lost and it was supposed to arrive much sooner and it never arrived. I haven't yet received a refund because it seems to be a little tricky to actually try to do that, so I'm going to have to do it probably tomorrow to see if I can talk to an actual person. And I suppose I probably should leave a comment with an update on what's going on with the second set I ordered, because some people might be interested. I do have to say that if you get them in though, they are inexpensive and very wonderful. They're smooth and easy to use. They're easy on your wrists and hands. They flow really nicely. They have really nice colors that become waterproof quite quickly on most papers, but take a little longer on others. One paper I tested they didn't properly set, but it's one of my favorite papers, which is the Talons Art Creation sketchbook. On the Talons Art Creation sketchbook, they never fully become waterproof, but you can also use that to your advantage. I decided to show Diplocaulus. This is an extinct amphibian, a very ancient extinct amphibian, and I decided to do different versions of Diplocaulus on different papers, but using these FineLiners to show different process and different options. All three paintings use FineLiners and watercolors and show what you can do by combining watercolor and FineLiner. Double checked, and I've been using these pens since October 19th. I love them and I've been using them almost daily, which the second set came in. And they have a reflective but very clear silver printing on the sides. However, as you can see in the video here, it's clearly illustrated that that silver writing wipes completely off with use. So after a short time, that silver writing's not going to be there anymore after you've gripped the pens, which is an unfortunate fact about the way these pens are. I also want to show using them on this smooth cappuccino paper, which has weird qualities because it has sort of fabric qualities to it. But I think it's a very interesting paper. I love to use gouache on it typically. But here I'm going to show FineLiner. I let it dry for a little tiny bit, and then I came back in. I'm using Rosa Gallery paints and some other brands, which are very flowing. I didn't go dark enough. Some of the darkness when you use a colored paper like this is actually from the paper getting wet, so you should actually go darker so that the drying shift from not only the paper being wet from the paints, which look darker and more vibrant when they're wet, can be accounted for, because the final painting does look more pale than this, even though this looks quite gorgeous as it is. When I came back in after it drying, as you can see, it got a lot paler. I came back in with some paint that wasn't Rosa Gallery so much, so that the spots would more stay where they are. Rosa Gallery is very flowing, but I find I've been enjoying using a lot of different paints lately, and it is fun to do mixed media on various papers. So don't limit your fine liners just to white paper either. Remember that especially on smoother, colored papers, you can also use the fine liners on that. As you can see, these are my results. They never went completely waterproof on my beloved Talon's Art Creation sketchbook. So in this case, after testing it all out, I decided the best way of combining them is to do the pencil drawing off camera, because that's not the point, and then show me using the paints on the paper itself. So I'm planning on doing the fine liner last. This will be an interesting graphic and illustrative look overall. Right now it's more of an ethereal painting with Rosa Gallery paints used more flowingly on the paper, pretty wet into wet. And I'm just making sure that everything is done before letting it dry and then coming back. As you can see, it's quite pale, but this is part of the look of the style. So it's pretty ethereal and pale, a little too much, right? So now I'm going in with the colored fine liners. I'm actually layering them up and combining them. Now this paper is not great for letting them set and become waterproof. Even after a day, they slightly reactivated. Well, not a day, it was actually just overnight, but still, they still ever so slightly reactivated, as you saw by that little short video before getting into this Diplocolis. But I still really think it's a good idea to know how to use your materials on your different surfaces, on your different papers, and I decided in this case I should just do the fine liners last. Now, it's actually better to turn the page so it's easier on your wrist, but most of this process here I didn't want to move it for the sake of the video. But it is actually a lot easier on your wrist. So eventually I did turn it, as you can see here, just because it's so much easier on my wrist and I'm more likely to do a better job. I'm layering in different colors to get different tones. I have this cyan pen, I even put a bit of the yellow green, I use the orange and the brown, so it's an interesting multicolored line art here. So there's lots of different things you can do to get lots of different effects. I would also like to say that you should feel free to change your technique up a bit based on the different papers, do lots of tests, and have lots of fun. And here's a look at me intentionally smudging out those lines a bit on this particular paper. Once again, that's all for this video. If you like my videos, please remember to like, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell to all notifications so you will know when a new video comes up. I aim for new videos every Wednesday, but sometimes life happens and things are delayed. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you with another one very soon.